What's good, everybody? Welcome to Friday, July 8th, Daily Betslip. I'm your host, Reed Wallach, joined as always on a Friday, Donnavan Smoot. Loaded show. We have two finals coming up this weekend for Wimbledon. We have MLB best bets. I have a UFC best bet. Donovan might be dipping his toes in some WNBA or NBA Summer League action. We'll get to that in best bets. The loaded show. We got everything. And of course, our game of the night, Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees, the old rivalry of Major League Baseball getting at. So we got a load show, but let's start with our favorite thing. Before I get to that, actually, let me ask how my guy Donovan's doing. Donovan, how are you? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, man. Yeah, I'm doing good. We got a lot of stuff. Like you said, we got a loaded show. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, let's get after it with our, of course, first segment, bad beat of the night from Thursday night. And this was hitting home. I mean, Ben Heisler, who grinds out WNBA like no other. He's hit a bit of a, I wouldn't say rough patch, but he's had a few tough beats. Those usually equal out over time, but this one hurt for sure. Liberty Mercury under 164 and a half. And let me set the stage here. 9 points in the final 71 seconds. It looked like this game was going to end at 82-78. Sabrina Ionescu hits a three for the Liberty, who are down 4 with 13 seconds left, hits a prayer, extends the game out. Liberty foul, Skylar Diggins-Smith. She makes both great free throw shooter. Game lands 165, half a point over. Ionescu misses that three, probably game over. They let the clock run out with a two-possession game. But Ionescu, who's playing pretty well for the Liberty, I should say, gets the job done for Liberty, and game goes over. Tough one. Don, I know you're a little bit more into the WNBA, so does this happen so often, or you think it's just common randomness?
I mean, I would say it's a little bit like common randomness, but at the same time, this. I mean, in basketball, this just happens a lot, right? Because the Mercury, they never trailed in this game. It was a wire-to-wire game, so they were in control the whole time. It's just a case of it's like when you get to the NCAA tournament, people start fouling at the end of the game, and those second half overs start to hit. So this is kind of that case. And Ben and I were actually on opposite sides of this one. I had the over, and he had the under. And when we took it, it was at 163 and a half, and the line closed at 164 and a half. So to get to 160, I was good hitting the over at 164. Ben needed one less free throw, and then both of us could have been some winners, but it's a little tough, right?
Yeah.
It's a little tough for Ben. And him and I, while we've had some some pretty decent success with the WNBA betting, the totals, man, it's just been something that it's been real wonky this year. It's nearly like 50-50 in terms of the league trends, betting the over and betting the under. So you're really just trying to pick your spots every single night.
Would you say, NBA, the game kind of dies when the game's out of hand? College, you really have a lot of teams that foul all the way through into the bitter end. Where does WNBA land tonight? I'm not as avid as a follower. I don't track like that and bet it very often, but do WNBA teams foul towards the end, or they kind of let the game go? Which way does it kind of skew towards?
I don't know. I think it's probably the same about an NBA game. I don't know if the desperation is there, but they'll foul to the point where realistically you still have a chance, and especially in the regular season, you kind of know whenever the game is out of hand, so they'll just let it go. But I don't think it's to the point of college basketball where you're trying to instill hard work and we fight to the very end. It's not like that. So they'll let some points go.
Yeah, totally. But brutal beat for Ben. Those happen though. That's life, man. If you're gonna bet this stuff, you're gonna have some good beats. You're gonna have some bad beats. You just gotta roll with the punches. But let's hope we avoid some bad beats to start our weekend. We're gonna get into best bets right after we hit some Twitter responses. A few loyal viewers chimed in with their favorite bets for Friday night. If we want to cue those up, a few of our Twitter responses. We got Cody Wells checking in. Shane McClanahan to record a win. I have some thoughts on this game as well, but Shane McClanahan to record a win, plus 140. Cody lays out some stats there, 9-3, 1.74 ERA. Great insight here. Goes about 6 to 8 innings each time, only allows a run. McClanahan is the Cy Young betting favorite. Reds, still one of the worst teams in the MLB. Castillo, Luis Castillo, 4.18 ERA at home. And this Rays offense has been humming at the dish. I have some numbers on that when I get into my best bet, but Shane McClanahan to record a win, plus 140. Cody likes tonight. I don't want to give away too much because I have a bet on this game, but Donovan, any thoughts here?
Yeah, I like it. I'm rocking with it. McClanahan, he's won, 4 of his last well, not 4 of his last 5, but four
Quality
of his
start.
4 of his last 6 starts. He's gotten the win in it. He's the only 2 where he didn't get a win. He had a loss against the Yankees, and then there was a non-decision again against the Yankees. But listen, he's absolutely rolling, and you think you look at what he can do against Cincinnati tonight, especially because of the fact that he just doesn't give up a lot of home runs, right? So his control is 100% there. So I like this pick a lot, especially at you can get this at plus money.
Yeah, these are some interesting prop bets. Pitcher to get a win, and you look at someone like McClanahan, where he's going deep into games. I mean, this is like the norm for him. So for him to go out and give a quality start, for the Rays to jump out in front, and then for their bullpen to hold on hit, all the Rays sitting at minus 175 favorites right now against the Cincinnati Reds. But I'm with you there, Cody. I will give some insight into that game in a little bit on my best bet. But I think we have one more on the beers and bow ties checks in. Braves minus 1.5, minus 121. Steer clear of the Braves. This team is an absolute wagon. I mean, just can do no wrong. They rarely lose. The offense, I mean, they almost are better than last year's team at this point. I mean, the way they're humming right now at the plate, of course, trying to run down my Mets. Still not concerned. But any thoughts here on beers and bow ties play on the Braves on the run line?
No, I like it. I think they've covered in 3 of the last 4 games, and 3 of their last 5, and the ones that they haven't covered in, it's because that they've lost the game. But whenever they win, they consistently win and cover, and so you get them against an NL East division rival. You get them against the Nationals tonight, who aren't a great team, are bottom in the division. Yeah, I'm rolling with it.
Yeah, I'm with it. And that is all for our Twitter responses. Thank you as always to Cody and Beers and Bow Ties for checking in, 2 of our most loyal viewers. So let's get to our best bets tonight. I'm going across the board here. I got a baseball play for tonight, UFC main event bet, and the Wimbledon Finals. And we're getting into Wimbledon a little bit also, but I'm going to give a best bet out for it, and we'll come back around and give some insight there. Donovan, you got a baseball play and 2 summer league plays. So I'm going to start with you for your baseball play, a prop bet, looking at my Mets against the Marlins.
Yeah, I'm going to go Pablo Lopez under 4.5 strikeouts today. We're going to take this prop at plus money, plus 105. And I'm really trying to, I guess, zag while everybody else will probably zig on this, right? Lopez, he's actually cleared this line. He's played very, very well. He's actually cleared this line in his last 8 starts, including a start against these Mets on June 17th. But I'm gonna bet that tonight is the night that that all good things come to an end. And the Mets have one of the they have one of the better lineups in baseball. And even whenever Lopez cleared this line the last time, lines at 4.5, he had 5 strikeouts. So he's right there on that line. I'm gonna bet that New York is finally, they're gonna see him a second time within a month. They're gonna make some the necessary adjustments, and they're gonna knock him out today.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like the Mets tonight. I did. If you want to check out over on BetSided and my daily dinger, I went with a long shot on this one. Jeff McNeil plus 750 to hit a home run. McNeil, one of the best hitters in baseball for my money. He's hitting north of 300. Not a big power hitter, but lefty righty matchup against Lopez, who's starting to regress, as Donovan said. So yeah, I'm all over the Mets. I like this, and maybe a home run for McNeil also. My baseball play, going with 2 favorites that I really like to make a little plus 147 parlay. I'm going with the Rays, as Cody's on as well, and the White Sox. I'll start with the Rays, just some more numbers on McClanahan. I mean, he's almost the MLB best in like everything at this point. ERA, whip, hits allowed, his K to walk rate. I mean, this guy is unbelievable. Has gone 6 or more innings in every start since May 5th when he went 5 1/3. So, I mean, McClanahan is just on fire. Since June 26th, the last about week and a half, the Reds, 19th in weighted runs created plus. The Rays, they're finally healthy. They are 3rd in this metric. This is just an elite team versus a not so elite team. So give me the Rays. And I don't want to lay minus 175, though it is baseball. So I'm going to pair them with the White Sox at minus 175 as well. Big favorite against the Detroit Tigers, one of the worst teams in baseball. The White Sox have been a maddening team, but we're starting to see some returns with Lucas Giolito. Last two starts looking a little bit better, a little bit healthier, only allowing 2 earned runs and striking out 13 batters. Faces a Tigers team that is the 27th in weighted runs created plus. And I'm also feeding Tariq Skubal, who everyone loved earlier in the year. He's kind of dipped back down to earth, has allowed 23 earned runs in his last 23 innings pitched. The lefty has really struggled, and he's going to struggle again tonight because he's going against the White Sox lineup, second in batting average and OPS against lefties. If there's anything the White Sox can do, it is hit lefties. So I'll pair the White Sox and Rays. 2 favorites I think are good to go. Get a nice little plus money play there.
Yeah, listen, I told you before, I'm always down for a little, weekend lay. So everything's good, and I like the Rays. I took them earlier this week on our game of the night when we had Rays and Red Sox, and it's because of the things that you were saying when you talk about their offense. And a month ago, they were near the bottom 4 and bottom 5 in home runs and in OPS, and now over the last 2 weeks, we're starting to see that number rise, and they're starting to get back to average. And so you can get them. They're already going to have McClanahan on the mound, right? So they're already going to have an advantage there. All he needs is just a little bit of run support. So I think that they can get that tonight. And so and obviously like the White Sox, I like that play as well.
Yeah. So now I'm going to go to you. You have 2 summer league plays. You have one play for tonight and then a future. So why don't you just give both out right now, and then I'll come back for my best bet on UFC.
Yeah, so the first one, so I'm gonna go with the Hornets money line over the Pacers tonight. And in summer league play, right? When both of us know this, it's basically just glorified pickup. These games, then there's not really a lot of structure to it. You have a whole bunch of guys who are trying to make it, and so the aspect of like team isn't necessarily there. And so you're not like looking at these teams like, oh wow, they're just running a really good system. And so you're basing it kind of a lot on talent. And Charlotte has a lot of talent on their roster. Indiana, like they have Chris Duarte. He's great. They have some pieces, their first round pick as well. But if you look at the Hornets, they have Kai Jones, they have JT Thor, both who played some minutes, not a lot. But they played a little bit in the NBA last year. You have their first round pick in Mark Williams, and everybody's favorite, you have a Ball brother. LiAngelo Ball is on the Charlotte Hornets summer league roster. So you have, and for whatever you think about LiAngelo, he can shoot the basketball, and so you're gonna have. I think that they're going to have an advantage on the boards. They're not going to allow a lot of second chance opportunities, which you see in a lot of these games because everybody's like hustling and people are just taking wild shots. But I think the Hornets will have an advantage there. I think LiAngelo will provide a good amount of shooting for them. And again, these games are really, really unpredictable. So why not take a chance on an underdog, especially in the early parts of the summer league season? So that's my play for tonight. And then long-term summer league, I am going with the Detroit Pistons to win the summer league title plus 650. They are the favorites to win, so it's a bit chalky, but there's a reason. The reason is because they're playing basically their regular season lineup. If you look at the Pistons summer league roster,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Exactly. Killian Hayes, who was a top 10 draft pick. You have Cade Cunningham, who was a finalist for Rookie of the Year. Isaiah Stewart, who was a starter for a majority of the year. Sadiq Bey, who was really good, a really good 3-and-D guy. You have Isaiah Livers, Saban Lee. You have 7 guys or 6 guys who were playing NBA minutes like consistently last year, and you paired them with Jaden Ivey, who is basically like the darling of this draft. I don't think you can find one person who doesn't like Jaden Ivey or Jaden Ivey's game. You have him, and you have Jalen Duren. So you have a lot of talent over there in Detroit. And so I think even if Cunningham and Bay, even if they don't play a lot, because I doubt that the Pistons are going to risk their franchise player in summer league. Even if he gets a little bit of run, Detroit they have the infrastructure to be able to kind of just run teams off the floor off of straight talent. So I like them at plus 650 to win it all.
Yeah, I think to answer or to respond to your initial bet on the Hornets, I do think that there's some value in taking, not blindly per se, but really looking towards underdogs in summer league because of the variance in the game, because of how random these things are. You don't know who's going to be benched, who's going to play this many minutes. Guys get pulled left and right. So I do think I'd rather, like, I'm not looking to lay a ton of money on like a big favor or something in summer league. That's just not how it works because there's such randomness that goes on in this. As for the Pistons,
you only get 2 timeouts per half, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of times you see teams go, and you'll see it throughout summer league, but you see teams go on like these like 18-2 runs, 20, 20-5 runs. It's because you can't waste your timeout at the beginning of these halves. So you just have to let your players figure it out. And so yeah, I agree with you. You kind of just have to, sometimes take the punches with the underdog.
Yeah, and just my only concern with the Pistons are if they start pulling their guys, they're good players. I know you mentioned their infrastructure. I like it because of Jaden Ivey, who played very well in his debut. Kind of wanted to see how that went. But I am just a little concerned if it's not the full roster going forward. And this was kind of more of just like, let's get the team together, like get a few runs in and move on. So that's my only concern with the Pistons. But listen, at plus 650, they do look like one of the better teams out there. And they are the favorite, but it's only plus 650. There's not a ton separating these teams. So I see the value in taking the Pistons, especially with Jaden Ivey, who seems to kind of be built for summer league, especially. Changing gears, though, we're looking at tomorrow, UFC fight night. Rafael dos Anjos going up against Rafael Fiziev. Big underdog here with dos Anjos, the veteran. Guy's been in wars. He's faced some of the best competition the UFC has to offer at both welterweight and lightweight. I'm going with him. Going with the underdog dos Anjos plus 185 against the upstart Fiziev. This feels like similar to what happened a few weeks ago with Gamrot versus Sarukian. Dos Anjos, if this fight drags out past the first 2 rounds, Fiziev has not really been challenged in a 5-round fight. He's never fought in one. Dos Anjos has won the distance with the likes of Colby Covington, with Kamaru Usman. He's been in championship level fights at both weight classes. He's going to match Fiziev up with size. He's a veteran. I just think this is, how do you pass this up right now? Again, plus 185 on a guy that is incredibly durable, is still incredibly good, has been in wars, and is the more proven product over 25 minutes. So I think at plus 185 for sure. Like, he might get slept early, but to me, Dos Anjos is definitely the side here if you're looking to bet this one. So there it is. In the battle of Rafael's, give me Dos Anjos plus 185.
Yeah.
What's
next for you?
Yeah. So then we're gonna finish my best bet. Then we'll like kind of go back and talk about it. But Novak Djokovic won to advance to the Wimbledon Finals. And Beers and Boats has a serious question about the Nets. I will answer it in a little bit. But Djokovic dropped the first set to Cameron Norrie 6-2. It looked a little, I wouldn't even say shaky, just he didn't have his game on. And then second set through, he kind of rolled him over. I wasn't concerned. He now faces Nick Kyrgios, who obviously gets Rafael Nadal's withdrawal into the finals, first ever slam. I kind of love Djokovic here. I don't buy it at all. This is a guy going for his 7th Wimbledon. He hasn't lost here since 2017. This is just setting up for a Djokovic masterclass, in my opinion. Kyrgios, I know he's been on a roll here at Wimbledon. He's really putting together a strong effort. But that being said, Djokovic is the best returner in tennis history. He just is. He's the best returner ever. And Kyrgios, while he won the quarters in straight sets, he had to save 9 break points, and he was able to break Christian Garen's serve 6 on. He converted 3 of 6 break points. So he was actually in more trouble than the straight set scoreline indicates. And not to mention, I get he gets more time to recover because he didn't have to face Nadal. But again, he's never been to a Grand Slam semifinals or finals. I just think the experience is going to get to him. We know how his head could get. If he falls behind early, I think Djokovic is really going to pour it on and take over. He looked really good down the stretch of his semifinals victory. I almost think that Kyrgios not getting a semifinals match, forget the physicality, but like getting over that hump, I feel like it could almost work against him. It's a big stage. It's a big moment. Kyrgios is a lot of fun, but I like Djokovic to roll over him in straight sets. This isn't available yet. I know it's going to be minus money, but I still kind of like it at anything below minus 150. I think this is setting up for a Djokovic straight sets victory.
Yeah. Look, we're going to talk about, the Wimbledon finals in a minute. So I'm very curious.
Let's go through best bets, then we'll kind of dive back into Djokovic, Kyrgios in the Wimbledon finals. So we'll pull up our best bets for Friday. I am on the Rays White Sox moneyline parlay. That was plus 147 for me. I'm on Rafael Dos Anjos in the UFC main event on Saturday. He's plus 185. And I'm on Djokovic straight sets. Not available just yet, but anything below minus 150 should be good for me. Donovan, he is on Pablo Lopez under 4.5 strikeouts against the Mets. Hornets money line in Summer League against the Pacers. And then he's on future. Detroit Pistons Summer League plus 650. They're going to lift the trophy over in Vegas. So there's our best bets for Friday. Now, Donovan, I will go to you for your thoughts on this final coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, I actually don't think that Djokovic is going to win this in straight sets.
Okay.
So I think both of us coming into the semifinals match, we thought that the semifinals, Djokovic was going to run away with it and get it off in straight sets. This is back-to-back matches where he's lost the first set, and I don't think that he's gonna lose, but I do think that Kyrgios can make this a little bit more interesting than you're giving credit for. I think that the fact that he was able to just kind of waltz into the final, you take an entire match off of his legs. Meanwhile, Djokovic just kind of had to fight in a 5-setter and a 4-setter. He was supposed to walk over Nori, and it didn't happen. And I'm looking at that, and I think, in my opinion, Kyrgios should have been gone a long time ago. I've bet against him, I think, like twice leading up to this point, and he's staying the course right now. And this kind of looks like a different Kyrgios. He still has done some of the outlandish things. You look at the way that he did the one little underhand serve and stuff like that, but it looks like it's a different version of him. So I think that he'll be able to keep his head on straight and maybe push Djokovic a little bit further. So I know that the handicap for this game in terms of the game spread just got released, and so right now Djokovic is minus 4.5 games at minus 130. Kyrgios is plus 105. I'm very, very tempted to take Kyrgios plus 4.5 in this match. And I think that's probably where I'm going to land at the end of it.
Yeah, I think if Nick's serve is on, he could draw some tie breaks, but it's just those clutch points, those make or break points, those tie breakers that are decided by basically one break of serve. I just can't trust Kyrgios. I know he's got the serve, but at any minute his head could go. And when you're going up against Novak Djokovic, he's going to return everything. He's going to put everything in play. He's going to test your rally tolerance. I just think ultimately this is setting up for Novak to, I don't want to say humble Nick because it seems like he's already been humbled. But again, this is his first ever Grand Slam finals. We saw the French Open, for example, Casper Ruud make his first Slam finals, and he kind of got absolutely walked by Rafael Nadal. Again, that's Rafael Nadal, the king of clay. Nick has the talent to, I think, hang. I don't think we're going to get an upset, though. I just don't think he has the mental fortitude right now. But listen, this is how it goes. This is your first Grand Slam final, so it's probably not going to go your way. Very rarely does the guy go to his first Grand Slam final and win. It takes time. So that's why I do think that this is setting up for a Djokovic win. But I do think the game spread is worth a look with Nick's ability to draw these sets out and, if he's able to handle serve. I do want to transition, though. Do you have any strong thoughts on the women's final against Ons Jabeur and Elena Rybakina? I said on the stream on, Tuesday? Mm-hmm. I kind of thought Rybakina was kind of live to get to the final because I thought she could hang with Halep. I'm a little annoyed, though, that the number is now so short against Jabeur. Both are in their first ever finals. Jabeur is minus 145. Rybakina sitting at plus 120-ish. I was hoping it would be a little bit wider. Jabeur struggled in her semifinals match while Rybakina, I've been kind of saying her name all over the place. I apologize. She kind of rolled through her semifinals, went over Simona Halep in straight sets. So, the number kind of moved away from me. Kicking myself a little bit. I don't have much betting advice here, though. I think it's going to be a tight match. I like the over games. I think it's setting up for a 3-setter.
Yeah, I think 3 sets as well. And so the line is actually moved a little bit further away from each other. Jabeur, she's now at minus 160, and Rybakina, and Rybakina, she just moved to plus 130. So you're seeing a little bit of that movement there.
Makes sense to me. I kind of agree with that move.
Yeah, and so the spread on this one, it's at 2 games. Jabeur is favored. obviously. She's at -15 on the spread. Rybakina is -105. I I'm with you. I think the two ways that you would go, you're either taking the over in this match at 20 and a half at 20 and a half games or 21 and a half games, or you're taking Rybakina on the money line. I think those are the two ways to go, because I think that Jabeur, she can get this match easily. But like you said, they're both in their first Grand Slam final, and this is a really big moment for both of them. So I think that nerves might come into play on both sides. So it's going to allow both players to get back into the match. I don't think any one of them is going to get completely overwhelmed, in their head and on the floor by the other. So I'll take the over at 21 and a half games, which right now is sitting at even money. Excuse me.
I'm with that.
The over is actually at -120. And then I would, if you are confident in Rybakina, which I wasn't coming into the semifinals, I thought Halep would be here and she would eventually win. But if you are confident in her, then +130 on the money line is the way to go.
Yeah, just the number isn't what I wanted it to be, but I think, again, it's their first ever Slam finals, both of them. I think that you're going to see some nerves both ways, and I think this is setting up for a longer match than expected. I think just, what I could see both women kind of struggling with the mental aspect of it, some unforced errors left and right and big points. So I wish I could get a bigger number on Rybakina, because I do lean that way, but I'm not going to bet it ultimately. But excellent stuff breaking down Wimbledon. Me and you have both been kind of in the weeds on this one, on the grass, however you want to say it, on this one. So great tournament, a lot of fun. Hopefully my Djokovic future cashes. Hopefully he wins in straights, but I guess covers the game spread for Donovan there. I'm going to transition now into game of the night. Red Sox, Yankees in Fenway. Nestor Cortes going against Connor Seabold of the Red Sox. Yankees -160 favorites. 9.5 is the total. Red Sox coming back at +140. Donovan, the Yankees got the first one last night, 6-5. What are your thoughts heading into this one? Seems like a bit of a pitching mismatch, but are you seeing anything here?
I'm taking the Yankees again.
Okay.
And I'm
not a bad bet there. They don't lose, so it's not a bad bet.
Yeah, and I'm taking them on the run line.
Okay.
I think that Cortes, he kind of like regressed a little bit. He started the season really, really hot, and then in June he kind of took a step back. He was taking some lumps, but he started off July with a really good start against the Guardians. He went 6 innings, only gave up 1 run. It was off of a homer, had 6 strikeouts, but I think if he can start getting his innings back up, right? Because he didn't pitch for 6 innings in the entire month of June, or at least for the last 4 starts in June. He started off with a 7-inning start and then didn't get back to 6 innings. If he can stay on the mound, then that means that he is being productive. And so I think if he's there, plus the bats of the Yankees, on top of the fact that Seabold, is making his 3rd start of the year, and he's not necessarily going to go long. So now you're playing against the bullpen. I think the Yankees can get damage done early and kind of ride that for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I'm looking at it a different way. I do lean towards the Yankees because Seabold just isn't cut out to be an MLB pitcher right now. He's a AAA right now. It just is what it is. 8 earned runs and 8 2/3 up in the big league. Small sample, but I think, listen, you could just see it on him. Me and Peter, we were on him as a big underdog against the Blue Jays. The Yankees are better. I know the Red Sox are at home. I don't know. I just can't really get behind backing him. I don't really like what I saw from Nestor Cortes, though. You mentioned it. He's starting to regress a little bit. ERA is sitting near 4 over the last month. The Red Sox actually hit lefties very well to that point. They are 4th in OPS against southpaws this season. That leads me to, after 11 runs in 5 innings, and then the game kind of died, but 11 runs in 5 innings on Thursday, I'm going with the over 9.5 on Friday night. I think that the Red Sox could do some damage against Cortes, who I just don't feel comfortable with backing, but I just can't go against this Yankees lineup. These are 2 top 5 offenses. I think you're going to see a lot of runs all weekend in this series. So I like the over 9.5. I'm totally with you there with the Yankees. And it does appear that the community is also with you, Donovan, because the community is rocking with Yankees money line minus 154. That was our poll winner. You could obviously vote on Twitter, always before the show, and on our YouTube link below. While you're down there, just go like and subscribe. It's totally worth it. We have a bunch of content. We have Daily Betslip every day, Monday to Friday. You should totally just subscribe so you could be notified when we are live. So that's our show. But I did want to answer Beers and Bowties question from before. I wanted to clear out all the stuff we had to get off the checklist. Go down the outline of the show, make sure we hit everything. And now I could do a little Nets update, I guess. I've hit like the stage of where, to me, it is over. I know it's over. I know that they will eventually be traded. I don't think Durant will put on a Nets uniform again. Obviously, Kyrie either. I'm just kind of angry now. Kind of just like don't really understand how. I think everyone deserves to play, but I don't understand how, like, whether it's ownership or players could get their ego so big that they can't come to some sort of resolution and make an understanding. I think most superstars don't. No, that's an over exaggeration. Superstars don't always like their front office, don't like their owners. It's not about them. It's about the team, though, right? And Durant is now going to go through this PR hit again after it seems like he kind of got some equity back with the fans because, this is kind of his thing now. He's so talented. Now he's going to force a team. He's going to force a way out, force himself to another team that's going to basically gut their roster to get him. I just don't understand why he's going with this. The best team that he could be on next year is the Brooklyn Nets. So I've been saying this. I don't really get it. I don't understand why he'd want to trade. The number one option for him is to stay with Brooklyn. But unfortunately for me, I'm probably speaking on deaf ears because I think he's just done. I don't see a resolution. I mean, has anything changed for you or you think it's done also?
No, I think it's done. And I'm just sitting back. I'm just sitting back right now. As a Knicks fan, I love the implosion of the Brooklyn Nets and of the whole.
Don't you feel bad for me though? Like I didn't.
No, I don't. Not at all. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very much enjoying you like being pained with, especially with these two guys. I'm very happy.
Happy. I mean, I will say one thing on the trade stuff. It seems like the market isn't there or whatever. I do think a market will inevitably be there. I just think these things take time to develop because it's such a unprecedented situation. You don't want to jump to conclusions left or right. Like, sure, this could drag out into September or something. The leverage thing, the Nets have a ton of leverage because this year, the Nets are swapping picks with the Rockets. So this isn't a year that they lose their draft pick. The Nets have a draft pick this year in the first round. It may go to Houston, in a pick swap, but Houston's also going to be a bottom 5 team in the league. There's just too many quality teams right now, and the Rockets are still starting up their rebuild. So if there is a final, if there is a final, I guess, resolution, the Nets can wait this out because let's say the Nets do suck and Durant sits out an entire year, which he's just not going to do. That's like never going to happen. He'll suit up and play. That's how he is. And Beers and Bowties, thank you. I appreciate the love as always. I think the Nets are willing to drive this out a little bit because let's say the Rockets are better than the Nets. They're not going to be much better. That both teams will just suck and the Nets will still get a lottery pick out of this. It's next year where the Nets need their pick back to really get some assets. So I think the Nets could be cool riding this out. And if they say to Durant, hey, you don't want to play, that's cool. We're going to play. And if we're not very good, that's fine. We have our pick and we'll start to build that way. So I do think eventually we are going to see some movement on this. It takes a little time. And like when you're sitting on every word of like the Wojs and the Shams of the world saying like the market's not there right now for Kevin Durant, like it will be. These things take time. And yeah, that is my, I guess, twice a week Nets update. I'm sure we'll have plenty more on this as the Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving saga drags out much to my dismay. But that's our show. Best bets across the board. Check that out. Wimbledon preview, game of the night. We have everything for you. If you're missing this, you want to go back and watch, we have it all for you. And while you're there, make sure you're liking and subscribing to our content and hope your best bets hit and have a great weekend.